Hello.
Hello.
Wait,
There we go. Mhm.
See if this works. Yay. Okay. All right, we are live and ready to rock and roll.
Hello again.
Yes.
yay.
All right, so last week, it was an interesting week. So we'll go from left to right real quick, starting with Nick.
Yeah.
You guys had moved into this area and gone through the barracks. Why were you here at all instead of just continuing exploring out the area? There was a specific reason you came into this room. Do you remember what that reason is?
The room we currently are in.
Yes,
We had come to get Fid's stuff,
correct.
which was in the armories, and unfortunately, the Naga took offense.
Mm-hmm. And Genesis is refusing to step through the door because she made a promise.
All right. Um, so that brings us to Ashley. You all, where did you come upon Fid?
What? 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 What do you mean by come upon?
Where did you
Where'd you
find
Where
find
did
him?
him?
Oh, he was in the jail. He was in a jail cell. I assume being forced to fight for the general's amusement. So
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
excellent. And Kendrick, as you guys came in here, there was a total of 3 things that were attacking you at some point. What were those 3 things attacking you?
when we came in here,
Yes.
there was a Naga and a couple of smaller snake-like things. I think I don't remember what they were called.
Correct. 2 iron cobras and a naga. All right, so
And at the moment,
let's see.
Oh yeah,
Do
Tusk got
that.
charmed.
Drink. All right, and so I'm going to give you guys a I'm going to do what I did a couple weeks ago. Give you all a 20 and a 1 that you can use together as a party
already.
anytime before the night ends. You can decide as a party when you want to use that 20 and when you want to use that 1. It can be used for any d20 roll. All right, so getting right into it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we're not actually at the top of the round. We finished it because I wanted Tusk to make his final attack to see what happened with Gimbal so we could make plans if necessary. But Gimbal survived Tusk's attack. Gimbal is still paralyzed, and it's his turn.
It's in being paralyzed. Can I still talk?
No, and with a paralyzed creature, here's this for anybody who needs it. If you were like a
I move or
ghost-wise
speak. Gotcha.
halfling, if you were ghost-wise halfling, you could, but you cannot. But
All right,
there we go.
so I'm done.
However, at the end of your turn, you start moving again. You feel these pricks all over your skin, sort of like when your leg falls asleep, but it's all over. And it's very uncomfortable, but you are now able to move, so you are no longer paralyzed. Let me take that
Cool.
off. It's only till the end of your turn.
And I would rephrase that as saying that I feel prickles on my skin.
There you
I'd
go.
rather not feel pricks on my skin. Otherwise, Duska's doing a lot more than hitting me.
That's right. And so now you can speak if you want. Want to yell out something.
No, there's no point.
All right, give me a Arcana check.
Can't cast a spell now, so
Take a couple levels in the psionics. One of these years they'll come out with it. I mean, they have Echo Knights, but they don't have psionics. What the hell?
Yeah. I mean,
Alright,
I remember they had a Unearthed Arcana class called the Mystic that they never went back to.
I find it funny that they really dove into the whole psionics thing in 4th edition, and then just kind of like, that was sucked.
Yeah, they kind of have it, but not really for 5th. Anyways.
Alright, I'm typing.
I have that portion of my little window covered, so I sometimes, don't see it when that happens.
Okay, there we go. Let me give this to that. Alright, so it's her turn. Alright, they did not code her correctly, which is annoying.
Oof.
So I have
Sucks when
to
it happens.
find different things. It is concentration. Okay, so she's concentrating on that spell. This is not a concentration spell. So she will do. And Gimbal, did you see the whisper I sent you?
I did.
Okay. Dude, what is happening here? Actor frame, CT, nil. I don't know. Okay. So let's click off this spell slot. All right, and so a arrow shoots out. You see her sort of wave her hands a moment and then fling her wrist forward, and an arrow flies from her toward Finn. All right, let me check one other thing here real quick. I think this Naga is just breaking my.
That's kind of uncool.
All right, let's see here. Here it is. It is a range attack spell. Okay. All right, so the arrow hits and it slams into him, and you feel this acid just burn into him, and smoke starts coming up from where it hit him. Do you have any kind of monk type thing that you can do to absorb it, or your deflect arrows or something?
I have a deflect missiles, but I don't know if it applies to something that is if it's not a ranged weapon attack. Wait, yeah, when you're hit by a ranged weapon attack. So I don't know if this counts. Yeah.
This is a ranged spell attack. Okay.
Okay.
You're also going to take a little bit of damage at the start of your next turn.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, Genesis.
Hang on a second. As I look at the Naga, do you said did she had a bow or something?
No, she cast a spell.
What was a spell? Does she have a weapon of any kind in
No.
her hands? Is she wearing any jewelry?
And let me verify the weapon. No, she is not wearing any. She does not have any weapons, and
Mhm.
let me check one other thing.
A naked Naga.
That is what she looks like. There's no. She had a key on her tail, but that was taken, or it's not there right now.
All right. Bummer.
Except we tried to take the key, but the mage hand went poof.
Gotcha. All right. So Genesis begins to whisper. Hang on a second. What in the world just happened? Oh, wrong button. All right. So begins to whisper. Do I have to? There's a target. Nope. Wrong one. Wrong person. Where am I? There am I. Click. All right. And
Is it a save or an attack?
there's a save. I'm working on it. There we go. $25. Holy crap. I have something. Okay, so she's got. What does Lucky do?
Let you re-roll up to 3 times a day. Any roll.
I can't see on her. Has she already used Luck today? I don't see it on her thing there. It's been clicked once, but she has something
Yep,
that
so you
says
have
the
2 more.
three.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so I'll use Luck on that. And that means I can click it again, correct?
Right, you re-roll the save and throw.
24 and a 25. All right, so she's got like a 19 freaking wisdom or something.
I thought it was 20.
Well, she's got a 25 and a 24 against it.
Oh, I thought
Against
you were
me,
talking
2 in
about.
a row. So I think she must have a pretty high one.
Mhm.
Ridiculously high wisdom. So no point in doing that again. That's
Wow.
about all I can do.
Don't they take half damage for dissonant whispers on a save?
Good question. Let me open it again. On a successful save, takes half damage. You're correct. All right, so this should be sidekick damage.
Psychic.
Don't forget to mark off a spell slot. Awesome.
That is a first level.
Nice.
All right, Fid.
Oh. Faye will probably kind of seeing Tusk attack, and it's like, I thought the big guy was on our side. And
Shoot him! Gimbal hits. Shoot him, it'll break the spell.
okay. Steps forward as I double check. Does not have any ranged attacks. Moves
Well,
forward
never mind.
and
You have your monk stuff that you can
yep,
do.
I unfortunately used all my key points last time.
No.
Um Sorry, I was just checking my abilities. Sven, because Gimbal is a smaller character, could Fid possibly step into his space to attack Tusk? and then move out of his space afterwards.
Yeah, so you can do that anytime. Anybody can do it anytime if they're friendly.
Okay. So
It's just
then,
you risk opportunity attacks. So like Tusk may get an opportunity attack if he,
okay. So Fid will
that type of thing.
then will step into Gimble's space
Okay.
to attack Tusk. I won't move because he'll move back afterwards.
Right.
And he'll just do 2 attacks with his quarterstaff. And then I think he gets a bonus action attack as a monk with his unarmed strike. But first, did I not roll? I thought that rolled.
It did not.
Oh, that was weird. Rolls to attack Tusk. Error. What?
Do you not have him
What?
targeted?
No, I was trying to roll right on him, but it just an error popped up for me, so I think that's what was happening here. Let me just try targeting him. And roll. Oh, I'm using a melee weapon, but I'm not right next to him, so it's bringing up an error. That's why.
What? It shouldn't. That's
I
weird.
don't know. Every
Anyway, that
time
hit.
I
So just go ahead and do your damage.
okay.
19 would have hit. It shouldn't. Here, let's try this.
Okay. Took some damage.
All right,
I'll
so
do
stop.
okay.
Anytime you take damage, you get a saving throw. And I just want to double check because I know the initial saving throw you have advantage. Let me see. Each time it takes damage, just make a new saving throw against the spell. You attempt. If you or the creatures that are friendly to you are fighting it, it has advantage on the saving throw. So it's unclear. I'm sure somebody out there has clarified it. I'm going to say you get advantage. So go ahead and give me a wisdom saving throw with advantage, Tusk.
You want it in the tower or in the chat?
On a chat to DC 16.
Okay. Oof, does not make it.
All right, so his second attack.
Is that good or bad?
Yep.
Don't we want you not to make the save right now?
No, we want
I
him to
think
make the save so we can break out of the dominate person.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
the
I'm
heck.
sorry. I thought this was a different thing. Very good. Very good.
Okay, that's weird. It's still giving me the error whenever Fid tries to attack Tusk.
And I don't know.
I'm just gonna roll it separate.
You hit. It was a
Okay.
17, so it would have hit.
Okay. So I'll roll the damage again.
All right, Tusk.
Minimum damage, but
Give me another roll. It doesn't say
yep,
once a turn. It says each time the target takes damage.
that's good. Oh, oof.
Okay.
Well,
All right, so
Fid
that's
does get a bonus action, a monk attack.
yeah. Let me one primary hand quarterstaff. Oh, I think the problem was this. Well, no, you can use this quarterstaff one-handed. That's odd. Yeah, so go ahead and roll. See if it works.
Here, I'll roll the unarmed attack for the bonus action attack. And it actually went through that time.
Good.
Nope, but it
Okay.
errored. But that was a crit. I
All right,
did
give
see
me a
that
second.
20.
Yeah, so go ahead and hold shift and roll your damage. All right, what's the error? Halfling luck. Attempt to index local die.
The update made an entire race of people get an error. That's super cool.
And that was his last roll. I don't actually remember what the DC was.
16, I think.
Oh, so then he just makes it.
Yes, it was 16.
Great, that's why I just rolled. Nice.
Awesome. All right, so Tusk, you are no longer controlled.
Whoa.
Thank God.
Fid does step back out of Gimbal's space, making it so he's right there.
All right, so Tusk, do you want to take an opportunity attack?
Tusk is tempted, but he's too busy kind of shaking his head of the weird fog that he was under. So not this time.
All right.
Maybe next time. And that is Fid's turn. After, whacking Tusk up beside the head a few times, he seems to come to his senses.
All right, Kithri, I don't. You were sort of running in, shooting, and running back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll probably just keep doing that. Maybe I'll stay. I don't know. Kithri is notorious for failing saves, so I don't know. I am what?
Moving up 35. Okay. Is that
That's half my movement.
all right, are you moving 35?
Or yes.
Okay.
So that's my full movement technically, but I can use a bonus action to move also because of cunning action. Yay. Yeah, I'll probably still shoot the Naga. Oh wait, but I get sneak attack if I attack the Iron Cobra. I should probably do that instead.
Okay.
Not me almost being too close to it because I did know it was there, but then I moved and I couldn't see it anymore. It's fine.
It happens.
Wow, lots of errors. Um, did that not work?
No, it didn't.
Okay,
Is it saying the same thing? Something about halfling luck?
perhaps. Yeah. Should we just like
Weird.
turn it off and re-roll the one automatically? Like just pick or not automatically, manually re-roll the one. Yep, that's what I meant.
Let's see if that works. Yeah.
Yeah, that would require rebooting, because it's a extension, a
Oh,
halfling
yeah,
luck
no, you're right.
extension. But I can't.
So I can
Yeah,
just roll
yeah.
an
I don't
attack
think
and you tell me
because
it's
there's
DC?
with two halflings, this is going to get very obnoxious pretty
Mm-hmm.
quickly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll go ahead and leave the table real quick.
Okay.
Exit session. Return to launcher.
Okay.
I am out. Let me know when I should join back in.
Do we all need to log out or just them?
Yes, because I'm
Lovely.
shutting down table. Return to launcher. Boink.
I'm sure we'll be fixed shortly, folks.
All right, load campaign, and I'm going down to halfling luck. Go away, and the rest of these should be good. The two COPs are good. I don't remember seeing anything else having issues except for my Naga, but I don't know what that was. So we will see. Hopefully this will help.
Mhm.
The other issue is that my computer is not as fast as other computers, so it'll take just a moment. By the way, I have these things, well, you guys aren't on this. If you ever look at the stream, they're D&D fortune cards, and they do things like, so the way they play is they're similar to like inspiration, where each player starts with one or two, and you can earn them throughout the game. And they do things like careful aim, play when you use a close or area attack power, and you omit one creature from the power's area of effect. Or get a grip. Play when you or an ally adjacent to you fails a saving throw, you get to re-roll the saving throw. Um, it's a one-time use card type thing. Overbear. Play when your at-will attack power hits a target, granting you combat advantage. You also knock that target prone. Stuff like that. So
Reminds me of something I've seen on like Pinterest and such. That's
Right.
like D&D achievements.
Yep.
Uh,
So I have these. There's also a version of them on Fantasy Grounds, and they're copper, gold, and platinum cards, and they do similar type things. You get to, and they just add another. I wouldn't say randomness. The interesting thing about them is they're only for the players, so the
hmm?
NPCs would never get one. I
Hmm.
might incorporate them into the stream chat so that, viewers or you guys can buy each other cards.
Pretty cool.
Maybe I'll do that at some point.
Mhm.
All right, so try logging on now and let's see if
I saw it was online and I already tried.
did it work.
Um,
I'm
it's
tempting now.
tempting.
So if you just get this attempting with a cancel underneath and no line across it, then hit
Retry.
cancel and come out
Okay.
and try again.
Well, sometimes it just takes a little bit of time.
Sometimes, yep.
Yeah. I'm
I'll
just
let it
gonna
sit
close it out
for a little
and
bit.
reboot that up. But hopefully this helps.
Because that's as it is. You guys can buy yourselves a little bit of help,
Mm-hmm.
which gives you +2 to any roll.
A little bit of help, a little bit of not.
Besides the healing, it was funny.
Yeah.
At least I thought it was funny. The I was streaming earlier, and I had a little bit of a cold. I was coughing a little bit, and somebody redeemed um, a touch of healing for me.
That's hilarious.
Touch of
That's
healing for Sven.
hilarious.
Okay, I'm up, so go for it, guys.
I'm attempting to connect, and unfortunately,
Oh,
it's not really
acquiring
working for me.
file list. It's at 0 though. Maybe I should. It's been like or whatever. Let's
Turn on the
get
combat
rid of
tracker.
the go.
Yeah, I'm attempting to resolve connection to server.
All right, so I show Ashley
Let's try.
connected, then disconnected,
Uh-huh. Because it was loading really, really
and
slow.
now I'm connecting. I don't show anybody else. So anybody else who's trying, leave and come back, including Ashley.
Okay.
There we
Okay, there
go.
you go. Kendrick's good. Nick's good.
Acquiring fire. There we go. It's
Just waiting.
connecting.
You told me to leave and try again. Okay,
Right.
it's working on it. Okay.
There we go. Attempt to grab my characters.
Cool. Oops.
Hmm.
All right, I still don't show you connecting, Ashley.
It was connecting. And I'm like, let's redo it.
I have connected, and now I'm,
Let me
waiting
just
for it to load.
let it reboot real quick.
There we
Because
go.
yeah. Okay. Loading.
Go.
Try again.
Oh, picture.
Here is message of the day. There we go. Actually, it's connecting.
Woo.
Woot. Mhm.
All right, so let me open up my combat tracker. And let me see. Go to actions.
I can try.
Yay! I didn't get a bunch of errors. So, all right. So, Kithri, it is your go.
Mm-hmm. That's not who I meant to target. I remember I was. Oh no, it is who I meant to
It
target.
is,
I was
'cause
gonna
you were
target the Naga
yes.
because it's Mage Bane, but then I'm like, but I'll get sneak attack on the Cobra. So
Yes.
Mhm.
And you for love of Pete. I don't know why it's not working. All right, so go ahead and apply sneak attack. It should be. It's not
I
automatic.
think it's automatic. It's just I have to skip it manually.
There we go. Cool.
Okay.
Woot.
Nice. All right.
Again.
So your sling bullet comes flying out, and slams into this thing, rocks back. And you're moving 15 feet.
Yep. And this way I don't have to run all the way over the bridge again, and I don't want to really get close to the golem. That might get super upset if Gimbal goes down. No. Yeah, I think that's my turn.
All right. And since he started the fight, I'll go ahead and have Crack be here for the rest of this fight real quick. Um, oh, Kendrick, I need a 20-sider from Genesis, just a flat 20-sider. Let's see. He is here. He's there. I'm just going to blast him. Try to finish him off. That is a hit.
Did that roll go at all, mine?
No. And it is enough. So he weaves his hands together and this bolt of fire goes flying out, slams into the thing, and that is enough to take it out.
Nice.
All right, and OMG is his turn.
We'll move up. I have 15 foot speed. Move up 10 feet.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, where's this?
Maybe we'll try and pseudopod.
The little Roomba. Just moving forward.
And swings with his little tiny amoeba-like appendage.
Oh,
Oh, pshaw.
oh,
As he does a little weak little throw with his hand. Oh, how cute. Nah. Exactly. Gimbal is now rather pissed. Where'd it go? All right, this one is a verbal semantic, doesn't have a range. Oh, self. Now, how can self be a vampiric touch?
You cast it on yourself, and then you touch somebody. Like Shocking Hands.
Melee spell attack. Okay, so it doesn't have the attack on here. Oh, yes, it does. Never mind. Scratch that. All right, understood. All right, dying or not, he's moving up. He's going up to this thing because he's pissed. Go past OMG and just go right to there. Just get out of everybody's way. And will vampiric touch. Inspiration.
Okay.
Thank goodness. Damage. And heals me a little.
Oh, that would be before the damage, but that's right. I'll fix it.
It has it in that order on the thing, on the actions, so.
All right, so you get 5 hit points back.
And that is, I don't have any bonus actions, I don't think. Going up here? Nope, that's it. So.
All right, so Craig is going to move up. We can see her a little bit better.
Excuse me.
He still has 2 left. Really don't want to burn a whole lot of his spell. So he's going to blast a couple times at her with some eldritch blastiness.
Blast him. Oof.
Wow. Okay. So they
Minimum.
take off some of her hair. But at least he hit twice. Tusk.
Yeah. Tusk kind of Zinger kind of turns around and starts charging back at the Naga. That's got him good for a second there. And it's gonna do his usual reckless Great Weapon Master attack. And on it and just keep going to town. Real pissed this time. Because she made him attack his friend. Blah.
Nice.
Nice. Channel that anger.
Finish this bitch off, will you?
That's the plan. Oof.
It still didn't go. Wow.
Second attack. There's a hit, though. Roll damage. Because I crit, I do get an attack as bonus action, so he'll take that. Third attack. Double ones!
Double ones! Inspiration, that puppy.
Yeah, can I use inspiration on that?
Okay.
I'm going to just re-roll that one more time. So it'll be
Excellent.
there we go. And it gets one last attack.
Man, you rolled a lot of ones on those damage rolls
So, yeah.
today.
No, he just comes up and with a mighty cleave kind of slides down kind of its stomach area of the snake before kind of cross-sectioning it with two more quick swipes. It kind of has like a weird almost cross on its equivalent of a chest area.
Okay. Yep. And there's you see blood's pouring from it
Goodness sakes.
as it's sort of wavering in place. K3.
Let's go right there for now.
Going 25 feet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, my turn. We're gonna ignore those errors again. Ooh. Well, the damage roll was okay, but it's okay with it. Woo!
She was at one hit
yeah.
point.
That
I was gonna
is
say, Dick took 109 after it was already at heavy. Like, that surprised me. It was one away. Awesome.
Nice.
All right. So with that, the bolt comes flying out and is just enough as she turns towards you, and it hits her in its head. She drops, and with that, you guys are out of combat.
Nice.
And Gimble drops to the floor.
Gimble's not happy, not having a good time.
Someone's gonna have to drag me back over to Genesis so she can heal me while I'm without coming into the freaking room.
Well, now the Naga's not there. There's no one that she needs to keep her promise to.
She doesn't keep.
You can drag yourself over, okay? Okay. So
But she made a
came
promise
back
not to
here.
enter the room.
Yeah. So we came back here, and the Naga and the snakes were in here. Where did the general and
They'd still be back in the room where we had them tied up.
I thought that was this room, was it not?
No,
No,
that was
no,
the
it was the
room
room
to
on the other side of
left.
us.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I was confused.
And Tusk had just checked in with them too before
Yeah.
this fight started.
Kind of as things are settling down, Fit kind of, steps forward, kind of right next to you, next to Kithrine's like, nice shot. Have
You know,
a
it wasn't exactly
mean swing with that, as Nick blanks on the term for what? Sling. A nice swing with that sling.
Yeah, way to fling the swing. Sling. Fling the swing
she's
at the
not
thing.
really paying attention too much. She just shrugs. She's like, Tusk did all of the work. Which is absolutely true.
Yeah, I'm certainly glad he's on our side. You doing all right, buddy? He calls over to Gimbal. Did the new
Been a long day. Been healed from the brink of death 3 times, I think, in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, this is definitely a rough day. Sven, just because I don't remember. How long has it been since we've been active or last rested? I don't know. I don't think it's been that long, but I honestly don't remember.
2 o'clock this morning. It's only
2
been
hours.
2 hours.
It's been a rough morning for you. Um,
And that is information is available in the calendar
Yes.
Mhm.
if anybody is curious.
no. Yep.
So good as those cats, the statue. Right, you hit there.
All right, so you guys taking a short rest,
Yep.
or what are you doing? Yeah,
Uh,
this fountain, this statue over here to the side with water there. Um, there's flagstones on the floor in this one particular area around the statue.
Well,
hey, Githry, do you want to give a look to that room now that the Naga's gone?
is the Naga gone?
Like the one we killed is gone. We hope that that was the same one.
And so you guys aren't going to heal at all or do rest at all. Just going to keep going.
I don't.
Probably
I don't
rest
have
in a
any
second.
ability to heal, so
Kithri assumed that the snakes and the Naga that they defeated were the ones that were in here, but she opens it up. Are the statues still there?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's alarming. Hmm. Hmm. Kithri will kind of shrug and like close the door. And she's like, "Yeah, we could deal with that later." She does want the chest though.
Fair enough.
but when you open the door, did anything talk to you?
No, it did
Well,
last.
that's
Did it last time?
exactly. Yes, that
Mhm.
was. Yeah, they warned us away last time. That's why we tried to like mage hand stuff from the exit from the doorway.
Well, I
Gimbal, I
think
recommend you stay back. I'm gonna actually go just give a closer look to this room before
uh,
we stop for a second to let you patch up.
mhm. What
Tusk walks
do I
into the room.
notice anything different in the room? Like history, arcana. Did I say that in the Discord or no?
Yes, you did. So you're
Oh,
saying you want to see if you notice anything different about the room itself?
mhm.
All right, so give me that would be um so you're I would say that would be investigation. Put it in the tablet.
Okay.
Are you moving about the room or are you staying in the doorway?
Well, Tusk has already entered the room, so after like a second or two, she'll like slowly and quietly follow after him.
Yeah, Tusk just kind of
As
walks
far as
into the
you can
room.
tell,
Kind
you don't see anything else different about his. Give me just a moment. Let me this is so for those of you who have forgotten, there's one of these statues on either side of the doors. It's made
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
entirely from black marble, and across from it is a chest. You still see the bones on the floor. Um, you do not see anything in here that looks any different from before. There is no dust. There hasn't been any dust in here last time either. So no trails, no markings. Tusk may drip blood here and there, but for the most part, You don't see anything different in here. Thank you.
I guess Kithary doesn't seem like there's anything real bad about this room, or at least nothing happened to me when I walked in. You want to work your magic on the chest?
She kind of wants to look at the snakes, but
Mhm.
yeah, she'll like be looking for traps and stuff as she's doing this sort of thing, but as she's looking for differences, but
All
she
right, so
will
give me perception check in the tower.
perception.
You're not seeing any traps.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Is that including with the chest?
No, that's for
Or
the
should I make
rooms
a
and in
separate
the area
roll?
around it and stuff. So you can make a separate one for the chest if you want.
Okay.
Mhm.
And perception, right? Not investigation.
All right, so it looks like the chest is on a pressure plate.
Okay.
Oh.
Do I know what the pressure plate does? Or how to deactivate it?
It sinks down when something heavy is on it, and it lifts up when you take things off of it.
But can I like wedge something in there so it
Give me
doesn't?
investigation or sleight of hand, either one. I would say investigation to determine what you need to do, and then sleight of hand to do it.
Both in the tower?
Yes. All right, so no problem. You get a very nice sleight of hand, so you're able to easily take and tink, 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 knock a couple pieces and lock it down. So now you can remove the chest or take stuff out of it, do whatever you want to do it, and it will not release the pressure plate.
Okay. Is the chest locked?
Yes.
Okay, then that is my next order of business. Checking the chest itself to see if it has any weird mechanisms on it, and then trying to unlock it.
So you also remember, because we just talked about it too, that there is a key within sight.
Oh yeah, the
You don't know what
Naga's
the key is
tail.
to, but there is a key in this area.
I
I'm gonna go grab
mean,
that for you.
if I fail to unlock it, or uh, do I see anything that might indicate to me that this chest is magical at all?
Nothing obvious, no.
Okay, well, she kind of shrugs and she's like, "Yeah, sure, try grabbing the key." But
Okay.
like low key, I think I'm worried it's gonna trigger a boss fight or something. It's
Okay,
fine.
Besides what we just had. Okay. Tusk goes over to the body of the Naga and goes and grabs that key.
the key is on the statue, the tail of the statue.
Oh, on the tail of the statue.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he'll kind of like walk over and grab it off the statue
Okay.
and then bring it over to hand it to Kithry.
All right, you see this key is much bigger than the chest. It's a door.
Okay.
It's a key to a door.
All right. Well, I'm still
Hmm.
gonna try to unlock the chest. So
All right,
let's.
sleight of hand.
I wonder if this is two of those doors that we just forced open last time.
That could be the case.
All right, so
Yeah.
click, click, click. You're able to unlock it.
Chest.
I'm just gonna add a big door key to my inventory.
Yeah, I guess she'll open it.
Okay,
She's
so you
been
see
curious.
there's a partition, and about one quarter of it is partitioned off and has a little pouch, some sort of shard, and a silver raven and a ring. One second.
Does any of this? Well, I'm assuming some of it looks magical, but
The other side is full of coins. The other
mm,
3/4 of it is full of coins.
neat.
The crystal it's a blue crystal that is crackling. Has this little small little electric things coming off it every once in a while.
Huh. I don't
Oh, I
think
have a
that's very
picture.
safe to touch.
Oh, that's cool.
Let's see. Join, join, join. It is the far left.
The
Oh, cool.
purple one
Yep, the purple one.
has eyeballs on it.
That's cool.
I'm not sure what they are. It's turning and shifting. That little
Hmm.
lightning zapping from it.
Yeah, I don't think that's safe to touch. Do I know what it is? Like,
Give
of
me
all
an
the
Arcana check.
things that are partitioned apart, do I recognize any of them? Do you want me to roll multiple checks for
Well,
that?
one's a ring, and one's a bag, a pouch. So you're not sure what's in the pouch. And then Raven. So give me 2 Arcana checks, and we'll see if you know.
In the tower or in the chat?
Yes, in the tower, please.
Mhm.
I no get to see how badly I roll.
So you're not sure what the shard is. Um, you've heard of these different figurines, and you think this might be one of those that's a figurine of wondrous power. And they do different
Oh.
things depending on what each creature is.
Mm.
You don't remember exactly what the raven does, but um, you know that with the right command, um, it becomes a living creature, and then depending on what else it's supposed to do, it does what it's supposed to do. So there's a ram, and there's a horse, and there's a ox, and a snake. This one is a raven.
Hmm.
um, Get3, do you think we could take this to the other room so Gimbal and some of the others could rest up while we figure this out and divvy it up?
She glances down at the pressure plate. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to pick the chest up wholesale, it shouldn't go off. So,
Alrighty, then I'll take it, and we can go back to where the prisoner is and divvy our stuff up.
374.
and Fid already got his stuff,
It's like
right?
50 pounds. It is a decent size.
Okay.
It is a decent
Um.
heft to it.
Mhm. Okay. I don't think that should be much of a problem for Tusk for the short jaunt to the other room.
What was your question, Ashley?
I cannot remember. My brain just
Okay.
turned off.
Mhm.
It's fine.
Does anything actually happen when Tusk lifts it up, or did
Oh,
Kithri do her job properly?
Nope. She did it very well.
uh,
Nice.
Fid, did Fid get his stuff already? That's what I asked.
Fid,
Oh,
yes. Fid got his stuff.
yep. It was like as he was coming back
Yep.
that the Naga attacked.
And just going back through.
Oop. Dude, I'm just gonna move kind of real quickly into the room.
All right, so everybody's leaving the room.
Yeah. Kithri, are you joining us in the other room?
Yeah, we did close that door. Okay.
All
It's
right,
fine.
so
It's fine. She's real fast.
now that you're in this room, what are you guys doing?
I think we should, sit here and rest for a minute so that at least Gimbal and it looks like Jen is a little banged up too. Can hopefully patch up her wounds while we figure out what's this stuff does. And he kind of wavers at the stuff in the chest. Do you guys want to take a short rest?
Yeah, sounds good.
Sure.
Okay.
And Fid did mention something about there being another way.
Yes, the back the way we came, over by the past the arena. There's like some rubble that's an illusion. At least that's the way we came in through.
So Genesis
Oh.
has Song of Rest, so you can add roll another 6-sider. One. Okay.
One.
So you're now at 58 wounds. Okay.
All right.
And at a short rest, can you use as many hit die as you have?
Yes,
Mhm.
but you only get half back in a long rest. Half back your total.
Yeah, I gotcha. 'Cause I'm out of everything. So, all right. So, and then she's got 3. Yeesh.
Okay, I'll apply that.
It's like she's
the
got
second one.
1.
K3 also give me a
That should be good.
6-sider. And Gimbal,
You do-
give me another 6-sider. All right, so K3 from a Song of Rest, you get 5 more.
Oh, okay, that makes me at full.
I was still on Genesis, but that was my role. It was Gimble's role. I was in the wrong character.
Okay, you rolled a 1 on one of your hit dice. So instead of you would get 4 more from. No, you get 5 more.
Cool.
Where is Gimbal? Gimbal, 5 more.
Oof.
So he's at 35 wounds. I mean, 37.
Mhm.
Okay. And Tusk, go ahead and give me a 6-sider.
Yep.
Why did it not show up as a hit die? Did it take away one of your hit die?
Oh, I just rolled a 6-sider. Did you want me to roll something else?
No, for the D10.
Oh, that D10. I rolled it separately because I rolled a 1 right above it.
Gotcha. Okay. Recovery 4.
That was for Fid, not Tusk actually. For that D10.
Okay. Fade recovery 4. All right, and so the D6. Have you fixed everything else for him,
I'm
or do I need to adjust it? So the 4 for the
I
thing and the 5 for the reroll.
I'm fixing it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So roll a couple more hit
And
dice.
with that,
Yeah, that should be good. Actually, I'll roll one more. There we go. Healthy.
all right, and with that, Genesis will fade away.
Correct too, or no?
Yeah, Craig is gone. He was
Mhm.
gone after the fight.
Okay, just
Hey,
kick me out
Gimbal,
of
you want to give a
Asgard.
look at some of these things we got? There's a shard that's zappy, and looks weird. There's a ring, a pouch of something, and this little raven figure,
And a bunch
and
of
a bunch of
coins.
coins. Which,
Oh crap!
yeah,
I've got some sort of license key conflict thing going on now with Fantasy Grounds.
I know.
Just kicked me out.
Yikes.
Well, actually, with that, I'm going to take a quick moment to step away. I will be right back.
All right. Well, it let me back in now, so it's going to take a minute though.
Okay.
I'm guessing there's some issues with the patch.
All right. So what do you guys, K3? Did you want to look at any of this stuff?
Yeah, no. So I know what the figurine might be, even if I don't remember what it does. It'd be easy to probably find a record of it of some kind when we get out of here.
Right.
Um, kind of wanna. Okay, so there was a shard and a bag and a ring, right?
Yes.
Um, I guess you'll first look at the ring.
I am back. Sorry about that.
All right. So,
No.
I'm trying to get all these windows fixed. Here it is. All right. So you give me an investigation check.
In the tower?
No. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, in the tower. So this is not a magical ring. You would guess it's to be about 300 gold pieces.
Okay. Um, well, I guess I will
Let me
look
add
at
it to the
the.
party sheet. All right, who's divvying up the coins?
What's going on with the?
Tusk will just go about kind of making sure there are equal shares of the coins.
Okay.
He
Inventory.
not good necessarily figuring out what things do, so I guess he can do some, simple task.
All right, and I'm sorry, Ashley, what did you say you're looking at?
Oh, I was just going to look at another thing next, but if someone else wanted to, then they can as well.
There we go. I used mine to look at that weird item.
The shard.
Sure.
Okay. You don't need a roll. It takes an hour, and you're able to figure out that this is an elemental essence shard. I need to check one thing first. She was rolling because it was not magical. If it's magical, you just figure it out after spending an hour with it. Because it's
Hmm.
stupid 5e. Slash D.
Then what exactly is the point of having a artificer's lore?
Helps if
I
you
don't
aren't
know
too
Guess
what
it
your
could be
honest.
able
your
to be a
lore
Otherwise,
history
does.
check.
What does it do?
In a
Is
second.
there
Oh,
a share button? 1D. Okay. Whenever you make an intelligence check related to magic items, alchemical objects, or technological devices, you can add twice your proficiency instead of any proficiency you normally supply. So those are things like she did when you just look at it.
hmm
You may automatically remember, oh, okay, this is what this is.
Right, that's what I was doing originally.
If you spend an hour with it, then you identify it. So
Right.
that's the difference. So that's what that does. So no, with the rolls you made, um, you would recognize it as an elemental essence shard. Yes, the 4,500 plus 500, 2338. Close. ID. Alright, I'm dropping it into the party sheet. So there's that. Let me look and see what is identified and what is not. Party sheet.
Raven figurine, diamond as dust, 200 gold. Elemental essence shard air, key, ruby ring, and a couple small rubies.
Yeah, so the figurine is what. So you spend an hour, you said, looking at the figurine, figure out what that is. There you go. So that's what that does.
Do I know what the what you call it does?
What are you talking about?
Never mind. Forgot to open up the party sheet.
The elemental essence shard? Yes, you know what it does.
Mhm.
You've studied. You may not have seen one before, but you're able to recognize what it does with the rolls you made. 22.
Oh, it's meta magic stuff. Or spellcasting focus. Boring. All right. So, ooh.
Gimbal, you're a wizard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Among other
Part
things.
warlock.
Well, Krek would certainly have interest in the
Oops, wrong one.
shard.
You're welcome
Yeah.
to it. I don't use meta magic.
I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
Mhm.
Any of you use diamond dust as a spell component?
I don't think I do.
Jen might
Jen might.
have a spell that does that. Yeah.
All right, and do one of you guys want the raven?
What does the raven do? Pulling as I click on it.
I don't know.
Oh, and the
Makes you
figurine
money
is.
when you sell it.
Hmm.
Oh, thank you. You know what? I mean, if no one else is interested, Tusk will take it. He actually has a couple of other just random figurines in his stuff, so he kind of collects them.
Mm.
But it is actually pretty cool. You can use it in a cool item to have in your back pocket. Animal messenger. Okay. Yeah. Does anyone else want a?
Oh goodness, I'm a conservator. All this time. Ay ay ay. I got this feat and I forgot to use it. It's a part of my this as a gnome rock gnome thing. It's something that I took as a feat.
Mm.
I have the ability to identify magic items. Like the identify spell. It doesn't count against any spells I can prepare each day. Always prepared.
That's good to know.
But it does cost 50 gold. So if you have a feeling something is cursed, that would be the way to go.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I guess while people are deciding if they want the Raven figurine or not, Tusk will just take the key and the small rubies. Because
Okay.
if it's the key that was in the room earlier, he would have grabbed it and just taken it.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me.
Mhm.
There we go. I'll put that in there. Explains what it does. That's for Tusk.
Mhm.
Is anybody so Kithri, are you taking the ring then?
Sure.
And so Gimbal, do you want a ruby and Tusk have a ruby?
I don't need one.
Okay. So that's
Okay.
Kithri, and that's Tusk.
Gimbal, you want the Silver Raven figurine? You
Not
can turn
really.
into a raven and baby an animal messenger.
It's a bird for 12 hours, and then you can also tell it what to do, and then you can also use the every 2 days animal messenger.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
I feel
so
like
we will take Tusk.
Jen might like this, but Tusk will hold on for now. I'll ask her when she comes back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys have taken a short rest. You've identified everything that's there, divvied it all up, got the treasure as well. Let's see. Make sure everybody got Kithri, Tusk, Genesis, Gimbal, Greg. Okay. So I divided the gold up between them because they were there when the fight started as well.
Yeah, it's totally cool. Mhm.
All right, so this is a good time, you guys, to figure out what you want to do. Let's take a quick 5 minute break, um, and 5 to 10, and figure out where you guys want to go now, and we will continue from there.
Okay. See you in a minute.
Right.
Yeah. Be back.
I'm back.
Oot. Hey, I
All
know
right.
that quote.
It is time to get rolling again. So, I'm going to move this. Okay. And that. All right, just doing some housework. All right, so what would you guys like to do?
I guess to start, kind of as we all get rest, you kind of watch Sid, who had kind of gone off to a corner to meditate a little bit, kind of stands up and kind of walks back over. Well,
So we still haven't found the other group, right? We may have found some artifacts. Not sure if we found what we were supposed to be looking for. I'm not sure we had a description of the exact artifacts, right? But we haven't yet found the other group we were looking for, right?
well, we did find this one god, or Tusk would say that.
You know,
We did
yeah,
find
I was
one
with
god there.
them originally. Yeah, we found
Yeah, their
we
group
found what's left of that group.
was Krek, Gimbal, and 3 guards.
Of which is left
The one.
And was
And
Gimbal and a
Krek
guard.
left.
Yes, Gimbal and a guard.
Yep.
So yeah,
We did
Well,
find
Krek
Krek,
left.
but he left.
Right, so
Right.
he's alive.
Yeah, he
As far
ducked
as you
out before
know.
we found this guy.
He was alive when you left him, so.
Yes.
right.
Mhm.
Knowing him, he might have got himself turned to stone again. Gosh.
So wasn't there an area we had not yet explored? There was like to the west up in the arena,
Correct.
Yes,
the last door.
Yep.
there's a collapsed area that we can go through.
It wasn't to the west, it was to the east. The west was the prisoner room.
Yeah,
Oh, the
follow
west was
me
the
and I
visitor
can.
room. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the east is. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
And I
follow me and I
misspoke.
will show you.
It wasn't Krek, it was Cromwell.
Promo. Right there. You go. I was
Right.
gonna say.
I was like, okay, yeah, he's not here because he's.
Dang it!
I was confused.
Tusk will kind of.
Fantasy Grounds just kicked me out again.
Oh shoot!
What is
So you're
going on?
disconnected this time. That's weird. Last time I
You
saw
will
you
I'm
disconnected.
sure in a second. It literally kicked me completely out of the thing. Went back to starting screen. See what it yells at me for this time.
Tusk will double check the prisoners, the general's bindings before kind of taking out the what was it, the rock that we had, that magical rock that we had that was pinning him down.
Yes.
Yeah, before like taking that out and kind of lifting the guy up over his shoulder to carry him.
So you're moving the rock?
First,
sorry,
he's double
what did you
checking
say you're
his
doing?
he's double checking his bindings, and then he was going to move the rock so that he could then pick up the general to carry him with him.
So he's right now, for the simplicity's sake, his hands are bound and his fists are bound closed around the rock. And he's just staring into space. His wrists are still bound, but so you're going to pry open his hands to take out the rock.
We're not supposed to move the rock, though, are we?
Well, can I move him while he's holding the rock? 'Cause I'm pretty sure or the rock's keeping him in place, right? Am I misunderstanding something?
You can lift him up.
It's
and
keeping
move
him from moving. Yeah, it's keeping him from moving.
Okay, so I can just pick him up and carry
He's not.
him.
It's not. He's not paralyzed at all. He's simply staring into space.
Hmm.
Okay.
So if two of you were to well, none of you are the same height, but Tusk, you could put his hands over your neck and drag him behind you. You could um, drag, uh, pick him up and carry him. I mean, there's number of things you could do.
All right. Then if I can just pick him up and carry him, then I will do that. Yeah, I'll just do that. I guess I was overcomplicating things in my head or something.
Okay, so you stand him up and he sort of wobbles for a moment, and you toss him over one shoulder and start carrying him around. The soldier will come with you guys, so he
Alrighty.
will stay with you.
Yep. Fid kind of just leads the way. Um, as I, quickly move two characters. um, yeah.
Oh, Gimbal, you're back. Okay, so we'll let you
Sweet.
move him.
Ash
Yeah,
figures
same.
out things on your end. Mhm.
You guys keep jumping into the arena.
I thought I went around the
All right,
way.
Tusk, hold on a second.
Oops, wrong
Okay.
one.
Sounds good.
It's fine.
All right. So you
Alrighty.
see in front of you, there's a big cave in.
Fid kind of cracks his knuckles. All right, if I remember correctly, this should just be an illusion. We should be able to just walk through. Hopefully that is correct.
What was the
Yes.
other place that we hadn't explored yet? I thought we explored everywhere else.
Yeah, I think everywhere else is, yes.
Okay.
I hope.
Everywhere that you have found has been explored, yes.
Mhm. Yep. And Fib will walk forward.
Um,
Cool beans.
Oh,
Mhm.
I'm using the wrong one. Hold on a second.
And I guess we see if Fid smacks his face on Rubble or not. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, something I'm just realizing. Do we not have any lights at the moment?
Here it is.
yeah. No, I was looking through the same thing, but Kit 3 also normally wears her. I think she almost like always wears her earplugs at this point in time.
I asked because Fid, I thought we had light, and Fid is a halfling who cannot see in the dark. So I know he was seeing earlier through Jen's light, but
Gimbal, do you have light? The spell?
I don't know. Give me a second.
if not, I guess he'll just.
I have. Yeah,
I also have
I
light.
I have
So
dancing lights,
I have light. I can cast it on something.
Could
and
you?
She'll
yeah,
pick up a pebble and cast light on it and toss it to where Fit is, I guess.
I guess he'll pick up the
So
pebble and just carry it with him then.
yeah, now you have light.
Okay, that takes care
Um,
of that problem. Here, I'll
Alright,
just
so go
throw
ahead and
the light
add.
spell on him.
Yep. If you would add light spell to him.
Boop.
So
What
you,
should Kithri do?
what was your question about Kithri?
She almost always wears her earplugs at this point in time. She's gotten pretty used to wearing them.
So when we get to the next map, I'll put blind sense on you again.
Okay.
Okay.
Escape. Play. All right. So you see, shortly after the rock face, as you move through, it leads to a stairwell that goes down about 10 feet and then leads to another hallway. Hallway widens out to 10 feet and continues on for a while. It's more rough-hewn rock, but it is very clearly manufactured, not natural.
Mm.
Just cut through. All right, let me
Mhm.
put you guys on the map. All right, so if you're, I'm just going to put you down. You can move yourselves from, there we go. Boom. All right, so Fid, you have light. Oh, good, it still has a light on you. Excellent. K3 and Tusk.
Thanks.
Okay, why is it being weird? Let's see. Hold on a second, guys.
Sorry. Was
Trying to figure out the streamed only is only showing 5 feet of the passage.
Yep, that's all I'm seeing too. Is just a single strip in the line that Tusk is in. Plus a little extra up to the signs. That's odd.
That is very weird. Let me try this. All right, let me try closing it. Sharing it again.
Does that mean I should close it too?
No, it didn't work. Okay, I'm looking at it. Let me double click Fid. Double click Gimbal. That's weird because I'm looking at my DM's version view. It looks just fine. Let me do that. That's going out. It does open up down there, so that's weird. Like it should. All right, so we're just gonna leave it for now. That's fine. So the tokens are unlocked. As you're
Okay.
moving down, you see ahead of you, way ahead of you, you do see some light. Way off, probably 100 feet or so, 200 feet. There's some light. You're not really sure what it's from, but it's hard to understand exactly what you're seeing. So try to stay together and go ahead and move up.
Sorry, I don't have
It's
it open anymore.
weird that. It's weird.
Well, I'll wait.
It's a very bizarre
All right, so as you get closer, you
thing going
realize
on the map.
that you're looking into a cave. It opens up into a large cave, and you hear this hubbub of noise, uh, of large crowd of people. Um, hear clinking of armor and laughter here and there, strumming of an instrument here and there,
Hmm.
general discussions, just talking, murmurs and things. Beginning to smell smoke.
Not sure if this is the based off of the past experience. I do not think that these folks will be friendly, no matter depending on whoever it is. Just do we want to try and scout ahead or just keep going forward? I don't think whoever these are will take too kindly to this guy I'm carrying. That's just kind of motions to the
Him being
general.
knocked out at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of scouting.
Mhm. Yeah. Fid kind of pipes up. Is like, it's the Amun soldiers and mercenaries. And I think they've been mainly camping out here. The rest of the area is not big enough for them, if that makes sense.
Mm,
This is where they dragged me through to throw me in the arena. I would
okay,
also suggest
so
possibly keeping a low end on things. As I, for a second.
That first word is half orc.
Okay. I know the general here was in charge, but I also know he had some half orc and half ogre and lieutenants. So, no, it'd probably be the ones to keep a most eye on if we see them ahead.
So Kithri
I'm
Tusk,
having second thoughts.
Kithri and Tusk, you guys have
Mm-hmm.
killed a half orc and a half ogre.
Okay.
Yeah, if they were not staying with them, we may have killed them. We did meet a half orc earlier and a half ogre earlier, both of which we have killed. Um, so I don't think we'll have to deal with them. Well, I guess that's good. Guess I'll leave these people leaderless, if that is the case. Which is actually probably for the best for now. Um, I think I know where the exit to this might be if I can remember roughly where they took me in, but it's a little hazy. I was a little beat up at the time. Um, but I might recommend just staying out of the line of sight while we travel around, maybe skirt the outside.
All right, so
Uh,
all right, so
uh, sorry.
Hmm.
I'm just thinking about like casting invisibility on the general or something. So
Mhm.
him staring off into space isn't can I cast invisibility on other people? Yeah. Um so us dragging him around isn't suspicious.
Mhm.
at the very least. I don't know. Unless there's something else that we can do that someone's thought of.
We could have someone sneak ahead and possibly cause a distraction in some area, while the rest go to a different area. I'm not sure. I guess Sven, would Fid remember roughly where the exit to the cavern ahead would be, or like just on like the other side, or was he not remember?
It is to the northeast. I mean, the southeast.
Okay. Well, we have to get to the southeast side if that helps. I don't know if you have any abilities to possibly distract or possibly just be extremely stealthy, but I'm sure that the entrance itself will probably be fairly well guarded. I don't know about your big friend here, or not even necessarily our guard friend who we're escorting here. But I don't know. What do we think we got? Oop, that was weird. We could also, if we can hide the office, the general here, possibly just masquerade as friends and walk our way out. But I am not confident in just lying my way out of
Kithri's pretty good at deception, but I don't know.
Tuss is like kind of thinking, just rummaging around in his bag. Don't think I got much.
Well,
I mean, I got these symbols here that can make a loud noise.
did we ever take anything off the lieutenant's bodies that could identify us as like from the lieutenant? Does
Why,
anyone
yes, I did.
remember?
I
Oh.
did grab like some insignia stuff that I found here.
Well,
But I got officer one, what looks to be a couple of different ranks, and a special one, as I have marked in my inventory.
well, maybe we should all have at least one, and Tusk can have the officer rank one because Fid talked about how um a half orc was a lieutenant, and we have a half orc, and we can have the symbols on the rest of us, and I can cast invisibility on the general. And if anyone asks us where we're going, I don't have a plan on what to say, but I don't know. It would make us not need to sneak, I guess.
Hmm. That could work. Darn, I wish Jen was here. She is good at talking her way out of stuff. Well, actually, Gimbal, aren't you good at telling people, convincing people of your way of thinking?
In theory, although we're kind of messed up.
I mean, yeah, in theory, Kid 3
Yeah.
is good at it too, but I mean, in theory, we won't, like, honestly, even if we weren't messed up, I don't know if we would stand much of a chance against an entire army. So there's that to consider. Our
That
best
is true.
bet would be
I
to
mean,
sneak our way through.
yeah.
I think the sneaking might be our best bet, but I don't know how we'd manage that either. We could, I mean, want to get closer and scout it out a little bit and see what the positioning of things are. If there's some way for us to do that.
I mean, if one of you, I actually don't remember if either of you two have ways of making yourself just be unseen. If you could possibly just go and scout the area and possibly get us a best optimal way to walk through and try to sneak through.
Well, in theory, I mean,
Well,
I've got
K3, like she mentioned, she can cast invisibility, and she's pretty
Mhm.
quiet on her own anyway. So
that might be the best bet. I mean, I can
Mhm.
get myself into disguise, make myself look like I belong, but I'm also, a gnome. So I don't know how that's going to fit into this army situation.
I mean,
yeah,
we saw goblins earlier. You can maybe make yourself look like a goblin.
That's true.
Fid pipes up with some additional information. Well, the passage does lead over to a ledge overlooking the cavern, or this passage leads to a ledge overlooking the cavern. We might be able to get a better spot if we, move forward a little bit. Might give us a better clue. Yeah, Fid mentions as he kind of steps forward a little bit to hopefully get a better line of sight. And Tusk kind of stepping to. Boop. Oh,
my map is
All right.
deciding that it doesn't want to move very
So,
much.
as you move up,
okay.
and Gimbal, I don't know why you keep walking into the.
Having horrible problems with it's pausing, stopping, pausing. I mean, everything is going glitchy
So
on my map.
open and close the map again, and as you guys get to the edge, you want to zoom out
Okay.
really far.
This is a very large cavern.
Goodness sakes.
Mm.
All right, it's a big area.
And move you up a little bit so you can see a little bit more of what's happening. So you are 20 feet above the cavern floor at this point.
Oh, that's a big area, a big army.
It is dark because it's a cavern, but you see different. You should see at least. It looks like there's a couple glitches toward the back, but there's a river running through it. There are a couple larger tents, smaller tents scattered throughout, different campfires scattered throughout, and handfuls of people around the different campfires. And as you're looking at this, you see that there's, like I said, a couple of military-ish tents, a large selection of supplies way toward the back in the northeast. But as you're looking at this stuff, you guys realize, these are a lot of these are mercenaries, not necessarily. This thing is being weird. Let me go ahead and see if this helps. Let me turn off. It's frustrating, but let me see if this helps turning off the lighting. Why is it black in the back?
That's weird.
Yikes.
That doesn't really seem to help. All right. Anyway, so you have
They're all. You were mentioning mercenaries.
right. So they're mercenaries.
Hmm.
You guys have killed their leaders and taken what money you could find. So you realize that these are people without leaders and with no way of getting paid.
Tusk
Nice.
thinks for a minute. Actually, we might be able to just tell them they have no job anymore. They have no leaders, no money. They might just leave.
Is he going to the bathroom?
Oh,
And we could go one better if we have enough money.
I don't think we do. But
I mean, not necessarily with us. I mean, in general, how much could we come up with if we were able to bring an army willing to fight for the town that these guys were originally hired to fight against?
I mean, we could try. I mean, I got a decent amount, but Nashkel does have a army in Bursine, so that they've hired too. I think it might be best to just send them away and then maybe mention if they're interested in being hired to possibly ask if the Nashkel officials, if they are
Looking for mercenaries.
looking for more mercenaries. But let's maybe mainly shoot for you have no job anymore. There's no reason for you to be here and to leave. I mean, I got the general as proof for that.
K3, you see that there's a horn tied to a hanging from a nail to the north.
Okay. Well, she'll kind of like glance at it real quick, pull it off the nail, and toss it at Tusk. Let him do the talking.
Okay, he like kind of fumbles to catch it with like one hand as he's holding his arms are kind of holding his other arms kind of holding the generals. Like, oh, got him, got it. Do you want me to start it, or
Go for
doesn't
it.
have to be me?
All right, and just for clarity's sake, what are you doing with the general? What have you done with the general?
At the moment, he's just carrying him.
Right, so you still have him over your shoulder, okay?
Yep. And he was Kithri just handed him the horn, so it's just kind of role play. He kind of stumbles a little bit as he's like handed another thing while carrying someone. But I mean, I guess I could do it. But who do we want to helm the conversation that announce it?
I don't know.
Gimmel? Have a say?
I can, if you want.
Yeah, no, K3 just doesn't do a whole lot of talking, and when she does, it's usually to insult people. So I don't
Fair
think
enough.
it's the best choice.
I mean,
I will quickly cast disguise self on myself and make myself look like my alter ego, my merchant self.
Okay.
From the very original, the one that I use when I go to places to swindle people. And then step forward.
Here.
What was it you said you had? Some sort of horn?
Yep, I'll get their attention. And I'll hold the general up for proof that we have defeated their leaders. So, ready?
Yes.
And Tusk will blow loudly into the horn.
Honk. Honk.
All right, so as you sound the horn, it echoes all throughout the cavern. It's very easily heard when you hear the various groups, and they start slowly starting working their way up.
Mhm.
As you're waiting and watching, you see signs that they have gathered below this ledge before. Um, there is a rough
Mhm.
hewn cut like steps or almost like a ladder that you can get climbed down to the low below
Mhm.
you if you wanted to. Um,
Mhm.
it's not very dignified, but it would work. To the south,
Okay.
cut into the wall, um, and takes about 10 minutes for them to come from the back, but eventually they you see that there's a huge gathering in front of you. Looks to be anywhere from 150 to 175 people have gathered in front of you. They're staring up
Mhm.
at you, and you hear murmurs and people talking and stuff. It's uh, as they see Tusk with the general.
Mhm. And I do hold them up kind of on full display so they can
He's
very
just standing
easily.
there with his hands in front of him, just sort of staring straight ahead.
Mhm.
I will hold out both my arms as if to calm everybody down, like they're really being loud.
And
And
they quiet down.
I'll
Mhm.
say in my deepest, squeakiest, unsqueakiest voice. Not sure how successful that is, but anyway, uh, warriors
Give me a
and
give
go
me
ahead.
a performance check with advantage. So as
Mhm.
you cry out, you notice your voice does carry well. This is sort of like a natural. I don't know, amphitheater is the right word, but it's the acoustics
Mhm.
are
Good.
naturally made to where your voice does travel very well. Um, Go ahead and give me a performance check in the tower with advantage.
Working on it. Working on it.
Yeah. And if you ever care, you can zoom in
Nice.
very close to around some of these fires and see some of the people that are there and stuff. All right. Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
excellent. So your voice carries strong and loud. It doesn't have to carry very far because they're gathered around you anyway, but it echoes throughout as you're calling.
Mhm.
Many of you have come together here to prepare for battle. But we want to tell you that those who carry your pockets books, those who would pay you to do battle against the great city of Nashkel, have been defeated by. What would we call ourselves again? Did we ever make a name? I know we
Bronze
did.
fangs.
They're called the Nashkel Heroes or Bronze Fangs.
Mhm.
What the what? The bronze?
Fangs.
Fangs,
Bronze?
like tusks, fangs.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh, fangs.
The daggers he made. Yep.
I thought you were saying, I thought
I
you were saying
imagine
Nope.
like he
thangs, like
actually chops down.
THANGS, like thangs. We the bronze.
We the
We the
bronze
bronze fangs, the
fangs.
Nashkel heroes, and we have defeated your enemies. Sorry. No. So we, the bronze fangs, the Nashkel heroes, have defeated the general and all of his minions above.
Lieutenant.
We have spared and befriended the great dragon that was used to pleasure the general, and instead of taking him, and he will see justice. But you will not see money for this endeavor. You would do well to leave. Find elsewhere to make your gains. In fact, those of you might be interested, head up to Nashkel yourselves. Find out if they may be interested in hiring some additional mercenaries to embolden their ranks. They are definitely gearing for war, and you would have a difficult time fighting against them anyway.
Mhm.
All right, and give me a persuasion check with advantage. as various ones of them start murmuring and mumbling and talking and stuff. I need to check one thing real quick. Dang it. Here, this is the button.
Mhm.
Kithri, give me a perception check, please, in the tower.
Okay, that took a little bit, sorry. Genesis is much better at perceiving things than Kit 3.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Do you know who that is?
Yes,
Okay.
I hate this guy. I hate him. I
Huh?
hate him. It's Ivandor, and she's just
Of course
like
it is.
glaring daggers at this guy. Like,
Hmm.
And one of them yells out, "The
Mhm.
priestess will save us."
the priestess is dead.
Yes, the priestess has met her demise at the axe of my mighty friend here.
Displays axe.
Kassarin is dead.
Kassarin is dead, and by the way, your friend down there can tell you that. As I point at what's his face.
Ivandor.
Yes,
Mhm.
thank you. For he was
Mhm.
there and ran like a coward
Mhm.
rather than assist.
To be fair, he was kind of not being treated very well, so
Mhm.
I think I was under the impression that he was.
Hard to tell. I really don't know now.
Being treated well or just kinky?
Uh,
Uh.
um, and one of them yells out, "And what of Gunbar? She would not have fallen."
who?
The Naga Queen, are you talking about? Which is Gunbar? We've killed so many.
No, Fid, you would know she's the half orc.
She was the half orc lieutenant you killed.
Oh, the half orc. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
She
She has
lasted
also
a
fallen.
moment against our might.
So several of them start leaving. Different groups of them start walking off. A couple, there's some of them are still talking to each other and arguing back and forth. And um, you recognize there's a large group of them that are military. They have different uniforms on and with different insignia, like you saw in the mess kit, in the mess room. You
Okay.
saw several of those insignias. Gimbal didn't see them, but Tusk and
Mhm.
Kithri did.
Okay.
Um, and so one of them steps up and says, "So Trundle, the half ogre, is dead as well."
Yes.
That's a yes.
How do we know this isn't some ruse?
Well, we have evidence. I have their insignias. We have your general bound
Do you
and
show
bloodied.
the insignias? Do you take them out?
Yes, I take out the insignias and kind of just show them.
And so he turns around and says, "All right, men, we leave in an hour." And he starts. Well, they all say separate and start scattering, and um, Ivandor sort of gives a little wave, and then he wanders off toward the back. Um, and
What the hell?
um, and pretty soon there's nobody left. They're all
Mhm.
at their various tents doing different things. What would you guys like to do?
Well, we'll continue leaving the way that Fid knows or came in.
So it's been what he was talking about is directly across the cavern to the southeast, across the river. In the southeast corner, there is a passageway that leads out.
Okay.
We're heading that way. Question mark? Anyone have any objections to
How
that?
are you? How are you getting the general down from this ledge?
Yeah, that's just a little bit awkward. I have my floating disc. Still have not used except when we were carrying the guy's body for a little while,
Is that
but
a
I can use
ritual?
it now. It is a ritual, yes.
Okay, so you guys want to spend
Yes.
the 10 minutes or an hour? I forget which one Tensors is.
It,
Okay, so
Okay.
it lasts for an hour, but it's just an action time cast.
all right,
So
so it's
ritual
10
plus
times that. Yeah,
10.
so it's
Yeah, so
a 10
Mhm.
minute ritual,
a minute. Well, yeah, whatever it is.
and
What's
if
what's
you're
a
able to do it,
Mhm.
an
they're
action would
Tuskwood.
almost
normally be
all
6 seconds, right? So yeah, okay, gotcha.
they're
60
almost
seconds.
all
A minute.
10 minutes. There are a couple that say it's an actual 1 hour ritual, but most of them are
Mhm.
like Find Familiar. I think is an hour.
So an action which would normally be 6 seconds is a minute at this point. So it'd be 10 minutes instead of 1 minute.
Yes, as
Yes,
a ritual, it
but
would do that.
a ritual. There,
A
like I
ritual
said,
says the casting time. I mean, the casting time of the normal spell would be one action. So if the ritual's 10 times, then it'd be 10 actions, which would be 1 minute instead of the 6 seconds.
It no rituals
either
take
way, you have the
10 minutes.
I'm
Okay.
almost positive
10 times
there is
the.
somewhere it
Okay,
says that
I'm sure there's some
all rituals are
explanation.
10 minutes unless otherwise stated, like Find
Mhm.
Familiar, which is an hour.
Mhm.
Um, but it doesn't matter. Either way, minute,
Yep.
10 minutes, hour, you guys have the time.
Mhm.
All right, so we take 10 minutes to get ready to cast the
Yep.
thing.
It carries
Tuskwood.
500 pounds.
Mhm.
Tusk is going to do what?
Tusk would go down the ladder first before they bring down the general, just to be at the bottom for when the general comes down.
Okay.
Believe it was to the south, so I went south.
Yes.
Um,
You guys don't have to move on the map. Like I said, if you want to zoom in and look around and stuff, that's fine. But just one of these, spend 4 hours working on the map for 10 minutes of playtime. But
That's pretty cool. I do actually have a question of the military folk that did say they were going to leave in an hour. Are they, as we're kind of jockeying to bring the general down, Tusk would like keep an eye on their direction to make sure that they aren't going to try to pull something shifty for their general.
so all the official looking tents, the striped tents to
Mhm.
the north and south by the river. There are also white tents, look like mess tents to the north, and to the south are uh, like showers, places where you clean them right as the water leaves this area. Um, so those are all military built, with stanchions with lanterns and things. So those are all being torn down by the soldiers and things. And that's where most of the soldiers are.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, just keeping an eye, and that's. But he won't go over or anything. It's just trying to be aware in this space with a lot of people.
And you see that um, there are some wagons and lots of carts that are pulled by hand
Mhm.
that are being loaded up with the supplies to the northeast. That my map is being weird on the player version. The DM
Mhm.
version looks great. I don't know why. I don't know what the difference is. But anyway,
Mhm.
you can at least see all the supplies and the
Mhm.
barrels and things to the northeast. Um, and they're packing all those stuff up too. It's clear they're not going to make it in an hour, but
Mhm.
they're starting.
They're working on it.
Yep.
All right, so you guys will work your way through. Give me a, let's see. I will just do one for you, everybody.
Mhm.
Nice. So 15, you guys do not have any issues. You do not have any kind of complications
Nice.
as you walk through and you walk by. You're able to pretty much stay clear of most of the most of the smaller mercenary groups. The biggest one you see is to the southeast. As you're walking across, you see there's probably a dozen females in some sort of, they look almost like wizard garb, robes and types of things, with a couple um, of them that are in like leathers,
Mhm.
uh, and they are very quick and efficient, and they're gone by well before you even get halfway across. As they roll up their things and they're gone. That's the
Mhm.
biggest group that's together. The rest of them, twos and threes. Some of them are fours and fives. You do see some monsters racers as well.
Hmm. Equal
Small
opportunity employer.
small collections of like hobgoblins and a couple goblin groups. There's even a handful of kobolds, and they
Mhm.
tend to stick together. But again, nothing more than half a dozen at any one time. See, there are several dragonborn scattered throughout uh,
Hmm.
the groups as well. Um, and if you look carefully, you might even see some Star Wars characters.
Yeah. As they kind of start walking, Tusk kind of, you know, bump bumps Gimbal a little bit. And it's like, good speech. Just.
Thank you.
Mhm. And then they keep walking. Mhm. I guess unless anyone stops us, we'll just walk on out.
We
All right. Any other Easter eggs you guys noticed or were looking at? I don't know if anybody cares or if you're zooming in or not, but there's a couple little weird things that I threw in
Yeah,
there just to.
a couple of odd little tokens. Mhm.
yeah, they're definitely
Saw like
mercenary
a
looking people.
serpent person. Mhm.
Nice, nice. Yep,
Um,
she's there. There's only
Couple of
one of them.
people with guns. That's either you know Star Wars or Starfinder or something.
Okay, gotcha. It's not. Sorry, I finally found something that talked about the rituals specifically to the one that I have, and it's just that it takes any ritual version of the spell takes 10 minutes longer to cast than normal. So it is 10 minutes longer than whatever the normal casting is, unless it
10
says
minutes
something
and
differently.
Okay.
6 seconds.
10 minutes plus the action, so that works. I was
Hmm.
I thought you were saying 10 times, and I I didn't remember it, but I couldn't find anything.
Mhm.
But I found it.
Yeah, like I said, there
Hmm.
are some that take longer. I know that for a fact, but they specifically say in it that it's a ritual. Like
Yeah, they'll tell you to
ceremony,
cast longer, right?
ceremony is another ritual that takes longer.
Yeah.
One of
Mhm.
those guys looks like he's having a lot of fun. He's got a torch and a little ramp to stand on.
Just "Hurrah!" Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah,
Um,
no, definitely imposes the fact that there are a lot of people here.
Mhm.
all right, so you guys make your way out through the southeast
Hmm.
and give me a closing all my maps and all my stuff. All right, Tusk, give me a survival check.
All
Um,
right, give me a
Gimbal, are
second.
you trained in survival?
No.
Survival. You want it in the tower?
Yes.
There you go.
Here it is.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, so you have a +6,
Uh,
and you rolled a total of 7.
oof.
Luckily, they're not. There is no such thing as a fumble with skill checks. Um, all right. So with
Oof.
us 7, you come out in the middle of or a valley, and you see that it's very rocky. So it's pretty hard to tell. You don't really see a whole lot of tracks or things. You see a couple roads leading north and south. Um, you don't. It takes you a little while. It takes you after about an hour. You finally figure out, okay, because the sun is rising at that point, and then that helps you uh, click and realize, okay, wait a minute, it's now getting light over here, so that means this is to the east. So you don't see the King's Road. You don't think you've gone west enough to cross the King's Road, so you're pretty sure you are somewhere between Nashkel and Jasper Moon, uh,
Hmm.
and I would say about another hour later, you're then able to find the road leading to Jasper Moon and Nashkel, um,
Hmm.
and you realize you're only about an hour outside of Nashkel at that point. Although it's clear that there were other roads that went to the south and probably then married up, you would guess, to the King's Road that goes south into Amen.
Mm.
So it
Okay.
takes you till by the time you guys come back to Nashkel,
Hmm.
it is
7:30.
7:30.
Hmm.
You guys are tired, hurt still, a little bloodied. Um, in case anybody wanted a refresher, here
Hmm.
is the
Yeah.
map.
And does it show where? Oh, there we are.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, but I will be right back again. Go take a quick bathroom break.
Whoa, this is a very long leg of the journey.
Mhm.
So as you guys come back into Nashkel, um, what is your intent? What would you guys like to do as you get to Nashkel?
Well, we probably have to talk to, like, the leaders and stuff that sent us on this quest in the first place.
So one thing that you haven't really ever done a lot of research on is the original group. At no point did anyone ask anyone what was in the original group, who was in the original group, how many there were, races, classes, anything.
True.
Good point.
They
We had no
just
idea
kept
what.
mentioning that there was original one group and then a second group, and they had mentioned it was 6 people, the 3 guards, and I mean 5 people, the 3 guards, and the 2 of them. But the first group, you guys had never really been told. So, and actually, I had that flipped. It was Cromwell and Gimble were the first group. The second group who
Right.
went to find them, nobody ever asked any details, so you still don't know who it was you were looking for. You didn't find any other prisoners. You didn't find any other people taken. There were 2 prison cells areas, one where Gimble was and Cromwell was, and the other where Fid was next to the arena.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be something
Maybe
you
we
want
should
to
have
do.
asked the dragon if she ate anyone.
Anyway, so you're looking at talking to the city council again, or you're just going to go to the
Well, I would like to just go to the captain of the
captain
guard
of the guard
because
instead? Okay.
I think I remember one of them being evil. What was his name again? It started with an R.
Rasserit.
Rasserit, evil, literally branded tusk.
Really? That's all. That's not good.
And who else got branded? I can't remember.
Cromwell.
Cromwell.
Yes, he froze them, paralyzed them, and wrote with his finger an R on their
I'm back.
chest that burned into it and never healed until one day they did something and extra special magic-y and it did get healed, but until that point it did not.
I'm back.
So branded them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we talking about the Rossroot and the R on tusks
Yeah.
and
No, so if
Cromwell's
we can
chest?
just go talk to the were-tiger dude, the captain of the guard, like, she trusts him a lot more than she trusts, you know, the city council.
I mean, all the council's not bad. I mean, there was that gnome guy who gave us this job.
Yeah. Did we find any, like, correspondence when we were down there? I forgot to ask about that.
We
Yes.
did.
Alrighty. So... Did it say? Because I believe, weren't we looking for a way to...
Fid would probably also have someone he would want to check up on. Though also, as we kind of get towards Nashkel, Fid would like kind of walk up next to Kit 3 and be like, once we get this settled, there's something I'd like to ask you, but it can wait till after this.
All right, so you guys are
She
approaching
does not hide
Nashkel.
the fact that she doesn't really seem to want to talk to you, but she won't run.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Hmm. Tuss like kind of looks around, like starts looking a little concerned for a second, like he's debating something.
Tusk has a thinking face?
Surprisingly, yes.
Holy crap.
I think someone's watching us.
Mm.
The only thing is, do we want to? Well, actually, quick question: Did we still have the general with us, right? Did we just get to Nashville?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we do need to take him to. I like what Kathy was saying. I think we should go to the captain of the guard or whatever. Deliver this guy first.
And let me get.
Figure out where to go from there.
Yeah. I think that would be our best course.
All right. right. And
Everyone,
I'm
keep an eye
pushing.
out for someone who's watching us.
So I'm pushing 3 of these to you,
Probably,
Tusk. The
probably that if
first hour. Give me this one. All right. So are you going to try to stop it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So after the first hour of carrying the general, you're sweating and uh, are wiped. And I'm
Yep.
going to say you take a level of exhaustion.
how long did it take us to get back here?
3 hours since you left
Okay.
the cave. But there was
Maybe
nothing else beyond that.
we'll put him down for a minute. If you need to, I can always make another floating disc. We can carry him for an hour into the town.
Um, that might be best. I mean, those mercenaries are still around, so might want to have my hands free in case anyone decides to jump us. This is Tusk's way of rationalizing to himself that he can, lessen the burden on himself
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
without,
definitely want your hands free.
without, admitting that he would like a break.
Oh,
You
well,
know,
I'll
I
take another
mean,
few minutes, another 10 minutes, and prepare a tensors floating disc and let we can place him on that. We got an hour to find the captain of the guard now.
Okay.
Neither of us actually have to have our hands held up.
Very nice. All right. So
Mhm.
that's where you guys are headed. So that is up in Captain Smilodon. Is up toward the northern part of the city there, toward the wall where the green pin is. I think you guys, yes, says jail city guard. It is early enough in the morning to where it's not an issue. Give me, let's see, who is going to be leading and the talking to the guards as you walk into the city
well,
with
Kid
this
3
person's
normally just
floating next to
trails at
you.
the back.
I can stay in my the merchant gear. I will
All right, give me a percentile.
get into my merchant gear for this town because I own a candle shop here, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'll go to into that mode.
You want
Uh,
everyone to give you a percentile?
Yes. Gimbal, give me a percentile.
percentile. Sorry, I'm looking on my list. I'm like, where's percentile?
Yes.
I'm tired.
All right, so uh, as you come in, um, you do see that the guards are more alert than they have been in the past. Typically, they're very nonchalant. They don't even stop people. They're just watching. They're sort of looking, and um,
Mhm.
if anything, they're more tour guide and more information than anything else. Uh, this time, though, you do see that there are people there with longbows on the towers. You do see that there are people walking the walls, which is something you guys haven't seen before.
Mhm.
They do look more alert and more weary than usual. And as they come up, they see you come up. Um, the two of them come walking towards you guys. Uh, so, what's going on here? What's with this guy? Why does he look like that? He sort of snaps his fingers in front of his eyes. What's wrong with your friend here?
Where the bronze
Well,
fangs.
go ahead.
Sorry. Okay. We're the bronze fangs. We're on a mission for the city council here. This guy has A captured enemy to be turned in to the city guard, or to the captain of the guard.
Bronze fangs. I thought you guys had tusks. You know, since when do you guys call your teeth fangs? I have a half-orc friend, and she calls them tusks. What are you talking about?
They are tusks. That's the group name.
What's your name?
Tusk. Funnily enough.
Hmm.
I
Gonna
will actually
confuse
pull
this
out
guy.
because I just remembered something. I have a key or a coin that was given to me by the captain of the guard. Nashkel captain's coin, and I will pull that out and show it to the guard.
So he starts to looks confused and starts saying, and then he sees the coin, and his friend's like, "Oh, okay. Well then, never mind. Go on through." Uh,
Mhm.
he, he heads straight down, and just past the Overlord Castle, make the first right, and you'll see he's down on the left.
Thank you very much. I'm glad I remembered we had this coin.
All right.
And as after we pass the guy, Brett mentioned to Tusk, we have the guy captain's coin. We have we told him that we are here because we took a quest from him, an assignment for him on a mission for him. And he'd give us directions on how to get there as if we had never met the guy. But okay.
That's true.
Happens all the time to me. Honestly, I'm just glad I grabbed this rather than the some of the more shady shit I have in my bag. Because I look in my bag, I have listed right next to the Nashkel captain's coin, Orcus Iron Holy Symbol.
Yes.
That's real fun.
It's actually kind of funny.
Dumping your
I
bag
have
out on a disc.
Look at this. This is the. Oh, wait. That's not what I wanted to show you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's funny how like all just the little trinkets that Tusk has accumulated over the course of this campaign.
All right. So you guys heading straight to the jail slash city guard area.
Mm-hmm.
So you get there without incident,
Mm-hmm.
and Captain Smilodon is there at this time of day. So he comes out. Those of you who haven't seen him before, he is a were-tiger, and
Mm-hmm.
in his human form, he is a very large, muscled man. Can't really see much under his armor and such, but is very big mane of hair,
Mm-hmm.
almost his irises are almost slits. It's hard to tell as he's talks to you all. Uh, the captain gets taken away, and he asks
Mm-hmm.
what's wrong with him.
Honestly, we aren't really sure. We roughed him up a bit, but try to leave him
Oh, the
alive.
rock.
No. He has a rock in his hands. Don't touch it. Yourselves,
What's
please.
keeping him like this?
All right, so he peels open his hand, sees the rock. Oh, I've heard of these. Interesting. It'll be nice to have one. Maybe the Maids Guild can replicate this. How long has he been like this?
How
A
long has he
while.
been like
Probably
this?
around
Since 2 o'clock this
half a
morning?
day.
Yeah.
Half a day to a day. 2 a day. Half a day to a day. 2 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 a It was out cold for the first part. Then when we were, tying him up.
And he looks at him, sort of sniffs him a little bit, looks in his eyes, um, and he says, "Yes, yes, this will do nicely. Excellent." So he has a couple soldiers come and city guardsmen take him away.
You'll also want this, and I will hand him the list of payouts from the underground. Because that's what I just marked the item as in my inventory.
And I will also then procure the maps, the Nashkel area map that had the markings on it for where they were
Okay.
gathering.
Mhm.
That.
As I scroll back to where I had that, I don't have a description, just
Right.
that.
All right. So
Um,
he takes all this stuff and calls over um, one of the investigators, and he's a
mhm,
very studious-looking guy, uh, tall, human, and mostly rose, but some like a leather breastplate. And he comes, takes these things, and he goes off into his office with the paperwork,
mhm,
and says, "You all have done this city a great service. Uh, Come, let's discuss
mhm.
what you have
We do
found
have
and what happened." And
we do
so he'll
have more
take you.
details.
Yeah, we have much more information.
So he'll
Yep.
take you into uh, like a little section. He'll actually have you go next door to a restaurant where there's a portioned off room. He's set in the back. And he turns some things in the corners. Says, "Okay, we now have. Feel free to speak openly, and we cannot be heard." And as he does so, you hear, you see this globe that was hovering over um,
Excuse me.
a small sphere about
Mhm,
2 inches around, that was hovering over by Kithri, and it pops. He says,
Oh.
"Ah, well, someone was interested in what you were doing. Come, let us sit." And he sits down, and they bring out this full,
mhm,
almost like a buffet, and you guys have as much food as you want, pretty much anything you want from this restaurant. As he will sit back and listen to, he just is basically just drinking. Um, he doesn't really eat very much at all, and he'll listen to. He's taking notes on occasion. Um,
mhm,
when you're done telling him a story, he'll then ask you clarifying questions. Um, Try to get more information as much as you can about the General Gillian, about the arena, about the dragon, about the troop numbers, and the different hierarchy. He'll take a look at the rankings, signias, just
mhm,
briefly. He's familiar with those, so he sees them, and it's clear he recognizes them. He's seen them before. He knows what they are, uh, and he'll listen to the whole thing. Uh,
mhm.
is there anything else that you guys don't want to share, or anything that you did that you don't want to talk about, or that you don't want to share?
Tuss does not mention the fact that he accidentally killed one of the guards.
Okay.
He does
Correct.
mention just that the other guards unfortunately did not make it, but he does not mention the fact that he specifically caused the death of a guard.
Okay.
Um, I think that's the only thing. Uh, he mentioned the the evil. temples things that they saw. The fact that there is something like a entrance from inside the city all the way out to where they were, um, and yeah, all the other details. I don't think there's anything else we want to keep secret or anything.
All right, and
Does
so
anyone else have
as
anything?
Genesis and Gimbal and even Fid
Mm-hmm.
collaborate with you guys, also he's able to talk it out and look and see, and it's clear that they had looks like you had the lower section where the arena was that they had pretty much taken over. The upper portion there was just sort of there. Um, they had the kitchen, but the rest of it is almost
Mm-hmm.
like happenstance, except for maybe where the half work was staying. But it looks like the statue had nothing to do with anything, and the room with where the hill giants were and such uh, was just a big enough room for them to stay in. Didn't really, it doesn't seem like they had
Mm-hmm.
built the room originally and things like this. So questioning and going over the details of how old the different things were and some of the newer things and the differences, he's able to get a good idea. Uh, it's clear they didn't build this for them. They just came upon this 3-story
Mm-hmm.
place and were using it. Um, so he gets better descriptions of how you access it. Cromwell has also told him his story uh,
Mm-hmm.
and how he and Gimbal went down there. They went a different way than the well you all went. So there's at least 2 entrances into this underground river. And
Mm-hmm.
so, uh, and if you do you mention the ghost and the hag? I mean, the ghost section you guys cleared out as well.
Yes, Tusk probably would. Though he mentioned that he thought it was most likely unrelated.
Okay. He agrees, but this is clear. It's clear that this is. He also wants to keep going. Have some people. He'll send a contingent down to figure out what's beyond where you guys stopped, because the river continued to go on past that,
Mm-hmm.
as did the ropes on either side of the river passageway. So he's
Mm-hmm.
curious to see what else is down there besides the one thing that you guys had to do with the city of Amun. Um, so
Mm-hmm.
he's this is where we will finish up for tonight. As you're finishing up your breakfast with the captain, be
Mm-hmm.
thinking about what you want to do next week and where you want to go from here. Do you guys have any particular quests or any particular things you want to research or find or do, or are you just going to be looking for jobs within the city? Um, are there any dangling modifiers that you guys wanted to do more research on? Uh,
I know Tusk was interested in possibly going back to pursue the hag that got away. Because I remember we found some information that uh, mentioned that she was possibly expecting guests um, in so many days, which actually might be today or like in the calendar time. I lost track for how long we were downstairs or down below, but he was interested in possibly going back and trying to pick up the trail of that hag again. Now that I don't have this that and possibly going trying to remember if there was anything else that they're dangling in the thread because you've thrown a lot of threads at us that we have not pursued.
Yeah.
so at some point, you
um
also may want to look at the proper nouns. I haven't updated it in a while, so the recent ones, there may not be some recent ones, but you can take a look at those and see. Skim through the proper nouns. That might jog your memory of things you may want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you guys are getting higher level now. There are things you may want to do. Maybe you want to find a place to live, or own or rent in the city, or start a business. Either buy an existing business or start your own store or those type of things. So if you have those type of, you already have a candle store, so there's other things
Mhm.
you guys could be doing as well. So along those lines, let me know.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and feel free to send me messages in Discord, either
Mm-hmm.
through the through the 5e chat or directly to me if you don't want others to know about it. And we will pick up here next week.
All right.
And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so, yeah. So, cool. Thanks. You guys have succeeded in quelling the uprising of the Amun mercenaries and the Amun army going
Woohoo.
against Nashkel. So
Mm-hmm.
there should be some repercussions of that from both sides, possibly,
Nice.
and we will go from here. So thank you so much for playing with me, guys. I appreciate you very much.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, if you guys want to catch up, you can catch it on Spencer77. Search YouTube for Spencer77. You can see all our playlists. Come back tomorrow night. Check out the stream tomorrow night. It's a lot of fun. 6:45-ish, 7-ish till 9. It's only a couple hours. And
Mm-hmm.
they are on their way back from that lighthouse I mentioned, and they have found they're in the middle of fighting this weird, freakishly nightmarish spider thing with hands, spellcaster spider thing, and
Oh.
that is where they left off. So hopefully they'll have enough showing up tomorrow, so they don't get a TPK.
that would certainly suck.
Yes, it would.
All right, guys. Well, thank you,
Mhm.
and say
Thank
goodnight,
you.
guys.
Good
Bye.
night.
Night.
Mhm.
Whatever else you all do, enjoy the rest of your day.
Mhm.